This time Kench is everywhere on the map.
Exactly what we wanted, and exactly what Kanga gave us. Fantastic double kill. Kanga, show resilience, show discipline, and wait things out. It gets utilized to pick up the trade. One, they've removed the way after. The jungler is dead. They're going to find a second. Big bruises, big initiators.
The Kanga are the ones who win that team fight overall. They're the ones who have a massive advantage.
The carries. Fido flashing forward with the petrifying gaze.
Emelg, wake up. It's time to do the show. Wait, what time is it?
Kang were beating Pinternet. They were going to watch anime together. Oh, shit, I need to call my girlfriend back.
You, a girlfriend. You're in your dreams, mate. Wake up, Emelg. It's time to do the show. Hey everyone, welcome to Week 5's episode of the Matchfix. I'm Shok, the Emperor of Ego and a Tyrant of Trades, and this is the Bastion of Botlane and respected retiree Emelg.
I'm Emelg.
Week 5 didn't see too many changes to the standings, though there were a couple of interesting games on day 3. Before we get into that though, there were quite a lot of roster moves this week, so why don't you start us off with Shinky?
Shinky played on Mammoth last year as replacing Bulldog as their support. He does have a history of playing with Frost, who was also on Mammoth, and now they're both on Direwolves, so I can only assume that that is like a big part of the reason why they picked him up. We're still not sure if it's a temporary thing, like just for this week, or if it's permanent, because he played all 3 games this week. Obviously, Bulldog filled in the 3rd game, but that was because Gooder was sick. Hopefully, this won't be the last time we see Bulldog. I feel like he's been like a great addition to the LCO. Awesome personality. He's like another flex guy, like Draku.
Yeah, true.
We can always use more flex guys.
So Kanga had a couple roster swaps. First, we had Fido, formerly known as Bedoing, replacing Chungi in mid lane. Not quite sure on the reason. I did hear in the rumor mill the Chungi rage quit. Again, not sure why. Could have been due to pay discrepancies. Yeah, but anyway, I don't really have any evidence for any of that, so we'll just move on. But Fido, formerly known as Bedoing, played OPL in 2018 on Sin, and so him coming back, he's been away from the competitive scene for a pretty long time, and I think he didn't play solo queue for some of those years as well, so it's kind of interesting to see him back. He is a stronger laner than Chungi and probably has a wider champion pool overall, but I think he also suffers from like champion pool issues. I don't think that's like really going to go away, and I don't think that his playstyle particularly meshes well with Only, so I'm kind of interested to see if this does kind of take Kanga anywhere. To me, it feels more like a side grade than anything. I'm not really sure. I don't think like Chungi was like the best player on Kanga by any means, but I also don't think he was like the reason or like the primary factor. Basically, I don't think like replacing their mid laner is suddenly going to catapult Kanga into a better position, but could be wrong. So we'll kind of just have to wait and see what happens there. We also saw Scott added to the global contract database as jungler for Kanga. I think this is purely as a sub position. So Scott was a sub for Direwolves last year, which had Only on it. And I think the reason is that due to Only's like wrist pain, he can't play as many scrims perhaps as the team would like. And Scott's a fairly capable jungler, so he, I guess, is going to be filling in scrims. Not sure if we'll ever see him on stage. I think it would be kind of nice to, because I think he's a like pretty good jungler. But I think like at the moment when Only's on that 60k bankroll, he's probably not going to be seeing too much playtime.
He's got the white and the green. He's hit the Moonlight Vigil. He's got the range from afar. He's going to get collapsed upon. A fantastic jump from Kevy. Wipes the floor with him, giving them a double kill.
All right, well, let's talk about the games on day 3. I thought PG versus Order was a pretty good banger for the day. We saw Puma on Zeri, which I think was, really fun to watch. It was definitely existing in a team comp that favored him a lot. I think it made the fights really easy for him to play. There wasn't really much on PGG's side to shut him down.
Yeah, I think that Zeri was actually crazy this game. I think it really showed like the dangers of giving Zeri without the tools to kind of deal with it. I think like the only CC was Leona, and like most of that CC can just be like dodged with Zeri's insane movement speed. So yeah, I think the Zeri pick was really insane. Draft went pretty well for Order. I think they got like the Kevy on Evelyn. They've got like these melee solo laners. So I think they've got basically everything they want. But on the other side of things, PGG still seem like sort of lost in what they want. I think Balkan on farming junglers, I think he actually like played Diana pretty well mechanically, but he doesn't seem to have the same impact that he does like kind of on these ganking champions. And that might be that like PGG as a team needs him on this like early game proactive champion to kind of function as a team, because I felt like this game like Winterer and Balkan definitely didn't have the same impact they have in other games. So yeah, I feel like PGG is still like, they're a bit all over the place, a bit inconsistent. Still not sure maybe what they really want to play.
Yeah, I definitely feel like PGG have always seemed like a lot more menacing when they had Balkan on those like early impact junglers. I think he like takes over the game really well. He knows what to do. He knows how to get his laners ahead and get himself ahead. Like you said, he played well, but like I feel like it's not really what they need in their team.
When the team fights were happening, like there were a couple of times like you got like a 5-man Diana ult, but it wasn't really enough. And the Zeri and Evelyn especially played the team fights like really, really well. The Tryndamere maybe needs to bind his R key, but you know, it happens to the best.
He missed it a few times, eh?
I feel Tryndamere R is like, it's like Zillion R, you know? If you mess it up once, it's like in the back of your head for the rest of the game, you know? Like he messed it up a couple times and then like he starts popping it too early and then gets like one shot straight after. That's a hard ability, man. It's all mental.
Bringing it back to like the Zeri pick, I think they weren't really punished for picking it first, you know? Like they had the ample like opportunity to pick champions that would help in shutting it down, but they kind of just didn't. He hit his first mythic, and then the next team fight did like 5k damage, and
stole dragon.
Yeah, and stole dragon. Like that already is like so crazy.
Yeah, I wonder if some of this stems from Yuri's champ pool. It seems like he really favors like the AD mid laners, from what I can see, and I think most of the AD mids do not deal with Zeri that well. Potentially this is a problem like with Balkan and Yuri together. I think that most of the AP junglers tend to be farming champions, you know, stuff like Lilia, Evelyn, Diana, etc. Whereas like the AD junglers, I think are best paired with kind of the APCC mids, champs like LeBlanc, Syndra, Ryze, champions like this. I don't think Yuri really favors these type of champions, although he did play some Ryze. I feel like the pairing doesn't go that well together, and it also meant that they didn't really have good tools to deal with the Zeri.
Order's win against PGG brings them to a 1-1 head-to-head record for them, so next one kind of decides the matchup, right? But yeah, they have managed to tie it back up again, and I'd say it's kind of makes sense, right? Like I'd say they're pretty evenly matched right now.
The third match is definitely going to start deciding that seeding for those two teams.
I'd say the big whopper of the week was the Chiefs versus Peace matchup. But this game was pretty much just the Tapoon show, right? He kind of took over the game. Hullbreaker Graves, it's so disgusting to watch, honestly.
Who don't miss. And will Chiefs now win the fight? Is that the game changer? I think it might be. Tapoon against the world, 1v3. He's got a Hullbreak. He is so damn tanky. You can't take him down. He is a tank, a bruiser, and everything else. He's going to get a double kill. He's hunting for the triple. And that is the first ace.
I think the most memorable moment for me was like he was 1v2ing bot against like Tien and Api, and then like the rest of his team was just at Baron, and the camera was just on Baron the whole time. It was just silently just destroying them 1v2.
Yeah.
It was really funny to watch.
In the interview, we saw Tally, I think it was, say that like Lisa was kind of the key to this like early game aggression that Peace like needed to have happen for them to like push the game forward in their favor.
I think Peace really needs something to happen in the early game, and like Lisa's like shown time and time again that like he can really like find the ganks and invades. And I think if like Peace unable to find that, if we're able to shut that down, like they just don't function well as a team.
I'm actually not sure how successful the Chiefs plan actually was. I feel like even though they've won the game, I'm not sure they actually like achieved what they set out to do. I feel like Lisa still got this like early game ganking champion in and Zhao, and I think Ari gets a lot of prio over Zillion. I think that Appy he actually played this game pretty well, but he did like make a couple key mistakes that I think he maybe could have carried the game and it made it difficult to do so. I think, for example, his TP bot and using Flash at level 3 was pretty poor. I think also his rune setup was really poor for this matchup. He has Time Warp Tonic and Biscuits against Zillion, which isn't really necessary because Zillion is so weak early. Then you can opt for something much greedier here. You can go like Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm, or you could go like Magical Boots and DMAT. And actually, this did have a slight impact on the game because I remember later on when the Graves 1v2s him in the side lane, the Graves lives on like literally 1 HP. I'm just saying, if he had a little bit more AP instead of the Biscuits versus Zillion, he probably would have killed him. So yeah, I still think Appy played pretty well, but I think it felt more like the Peace mid-jungle made mistakes rather than Chiefs kind of taking them out. That being said, I think the Chiefs played really well to shut down Chaeyoung on the Jinx. Like I think there were 2 bot dives maybe where Jinx was denied quite a lot of CS. And I think especially when like Lee Sin died, like trading his life for Jinx, I think that's actually like really, really good. And like denying the Jinx farm means just so much more than like the Lee Sin farm. So top jungle for Chiefs especially, and I guess Draco as well, played this game very, very well. And I think Peace maybe didn't quite play to their level. So we'll have to see how the game goes, kind of like when they come up against each other again.
Big week for the LCO standings. Not really though, because only 2 places swapped. But Chiefs, pretty good 3-0 week, sitting at 11-1, pulling ahead of Peace finally. They're really achieving what they set out to do in this league.
Oh my God.
Peace, PGG, and Order all pulling out 2-1 weeks. Peace obviously dropping to second place. Order still tied with PGG, 7-5. Looking pretty close between those two. I think it'll be tight until the end of the split. It's the usual suspects in the bottom 4. We got Direwolves, Mammoth, Kanga, and Gravitas in that order. I mean, Kanga pulled out 1 win this week. Gravitas 0-3. I do have an issue with Gravitas actually, is that they've been playing Thomas Shen over Piglet. Put Piglet back in, man. Give my boy some time. Kanga going 1-2 this week. Picking up a win against Gravitas and having actually a pretty close game against Chiefs. I remember they did have like a decent early game lead and then it kind of just went down the gutter. Like I blinked once and then suddenly Chiefs was winning again. But I think it is interesting to see, right? Like we said that Kanga should probably make changes. They made changes and like the results don't really reflect that yet, but I'm sure we'll start to see more as the weeks go on.
So I think even though the standings didn't really change, now that we're kind of halfway through the split, we can start to kind of see that like there is a clear top 4 in my mind. But the 5th place might be contested by like Direwolves, Mammoth, or Kanga. I think Gravitas aren't mathematically out of playoffs, but I don't really see them turning it around. So yeah, it will be interesting to see who takes that 5th playoff spot and how those like top 4 end up kind of shaking out, because I think the points are still like close enough to each other where like anyone could still move into first, like if a few things change around.
Not Gravitas though.
No, not Gravitas. We're about halfway through the split now, so I thought it would be kind of good if we could take a look at who we think are like the best performers in each role, our kind of like mid-split all-star lineup. So who do you kind of see as like the best performers right now?
You're going to make me go first. All right. Wow. Top lane, I have Topoon.
Okay.
I think it's a pretty obvious choice. He just came off a pretty good week, and I think overall he's never really had like a bad game. It's like he's.
It was a 0-7
Oh
Renekton
yeah, okay,
game.
that one doesn't count. Everyone gets like one bad
doesn't
game.
count, all right.
Oh yeah, I think he's definitely been like top performer. I think he deserves the all-star spot, coveted Matchfix all-star spot. Sorry. And then in jungle I've got Balkan. Although like the team overall has been pretty shaky, I think that when they do well, he's like almost certainly a part of it, right? So I think he deserves that. A close second for that one would probably be Kevy. He's also had some like pretty good carry performances on Order. Mid lane would be Appy on Peace. Not much to say there. It's just been pretty solid. Gold star for him. ADC, Puma from Order. He was always a bit of like a dark horse. Like in 2021, I always viewed him as like pretty good, both mechanically and like just overall like a good ADC. So I'm glad to see he's been performing well so far this year. He definitely has like the potential to be like maybe even like the best ADC in the region. Like he can do it. Might be a bit more difficult now since their Raze is back in town, but we'll have to see how that all plays out. At the end of the year, like the power rankings for ADC could look very different. And then in support, I've got Beats. Honestly, I didn't expect him to be like the best support, but he really has been performing really well in Peace, and I think he's been a big part of their success so far. See if he can keep it up. What do you think?
Interesting choice.
What would you rate my power rankings out of 10?
Like a 7. You didn't come prepared. Not much thought into it. You know how it goes. Don't worry, I'll carry.
You told me about this segment like 5 seconds ago. Anyway,
no, it was pretty good. I think you have some solid choices.
I'll take a 7, whatever.
Okay, so for me in top lane, I agree with you. I think Topoon, he's had like one int game, but for the most part, he has played really well. I do remember actually he has had a couple off games like the Gragas game and the Renekton game, but overall he still, I think, he has the highest gold difference at 15 of anyone, and he also has 17 solo kills compared to the next person's 9.
Okay,
so that's pretty crazy.
Bit of a stats guy.
Yeah,
over
bit of
here.
a stats guy.
Dude.
Study stats, by the way. But no, I think like you can look at his impact in games. You can see in that. This might be a bit of recency bias, but like in the Tryndamere Nasus game, winning a bad matchup that hard, and also in the recent Graves vs Jace game, again, a matchup where he has been counterpicked, and he's ended up being like the reason like his team is winning the game. So I think that's like really impressive. I think, if you look at the stats, he's really good. If you look at the gameplay, he's really good. So top lane is definitely my pick for top lane, and I'd say probably my overall mid-split MVP at the moment. But I would say it's pretty hard to choose an overall at the moment. So for jungle, this one is probably the one I'm least sure on. I feel like it's Lisa if I had to choose one. I think he's been like the most consistent of the junglers, but pretty much every jungler has had some like really insane highs. Like I think Kevy, Balkan, and Arthur have all had like really pop-off games, but they've also had some kind of like weaker games where, you know, like maybe fumbled the early game. But yeah, I think jungle is maybe the most evenly skilled role in our region at the moment. Like there are just a lot of good junglers, I think. And I guess Lisa the most consistent at the moment, but this is the one I feel like the least sure about.
I'm surprised you didn't say Bulldog.
Bulldog, true. Bulldog is 1-0. I think that's something no other jungler can say. So for mid, I also have Appy. I think Appy has like the biggest champ pool of any of the mid laners. I think he can play like pretty much all the styles. And from what I've seen, like from what briefly I can see of like when they pan to mid lane, he is playing the lane the best out of anyone, which is what I value the most in mid laners. So yeah, nothing too much to say about Appy. I think maybe, I can't even think of a close second. I feel like all the other mids have kind of just like had really on and off moments, but Appy at the moment, definitely the best for me. So 80 carry is one that also I think is kind of close. I think I'm going to choose Raze. I think he has had the biggest leads and has kind of like made Chiefs win some games that they otherwise like definitely would have lost. But I also think Puma is a close second. Like Puma has had some really good games and has maybe been more consistent overall. But again, maybe a little bit of recency bias. Raze did kind of hard ratio Puma in the Tristana versus Zeri game. And that was like a big ADC gap game. So yeah, I kind of give it to Raze, but I think, yeah, it's pretty close. Puma definitely is a close second. And yeah, for support, I agree with you. Probably is Beats. I think this is kind of a case of just one support inting less than the others. I think Beats is like, he's performed fine or like pretty well. But I also don't think there is that much competition in sport at the moment. I definitely think it's probably our weakest role at the moment. But that being said, you know, even if your competition is weak, it does still take something to kind of like rise above the rest. So credit to Beast, I think he's the best performing support at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say the support pool really fell on the gut after Emelg left.
True. Without Emelg there to keep them honest, you know?
It was like their pillar of hope. You know? It's time to sit back, relax, and take it all in as we look at LCO moments for week 5. Starting off with Kanga versus Order. Obviously, Chungi was subbed out for Fighter, who apparently was an anime watcher. So lived, you know, pretty excited to watch anime with his new mid laner.
It's complete. The 5-man squad, we all watch anime. We're planned tonight after this game. If we win, we're all watching the full series of Attack on Titan.
He said if we win, then they were going to watch anime, and they lost.
Not surprising, really.
Yeah.
5 anime watchers can't win.
Yeah. We also saw Voice punching back against PGG, saying, meet me in top lane to Praetus.
I think we'll just beat Pentanet. I'm pretty sure I could play top lane and still beat Pentanet.
If Voice wants to meet me top lane, he'll get gapped twice as hard because it's a 1v1, so good luck.
Yeah, that video was so funny. Praetus had a good comeback as well, saying like gap him twice as hard. I really like it when there's like good banter like that. It makes a big difference. Makes the game fun to watch, even though, you know, a lot of people already kind of know what's going to happen.
PGG versus Mammoth did come packed with a lot more content in the pre-game interviews. Rogue, you know, offering to give them the draft notes for $100. Honestly, pretty good deal, you know?
And I've just got second one of the draft notes. If you pay me $100, I'll show you right now.
If I'm Mammoth, I'm taking that deal any day of the week.
Yeah, I think Chenjuan got a lot more than 100 when he went traded. So, you know, Rogue was definitely making it pretty cheap. Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. And the pregame video for Peace versus Order, Premium coming out strong, saying Beast was the lesser half of Order 2021's bot lane. Big words, big words. Did they win that game?
I think Peace won that game, I think.
Bulldog, you know, as always, doing well in the interviews. He managed to sign off with shooting a shot. For Maximize, who was a guest caster that day.
Yo, Maximize, you handsome as fuck.
Do you think if he said that to you, you'd swoon a little bit?
Dude, he has such good interviews. We'll have to get him on the Matchfix one of these days.
He didn't answer the question.
I'd swoon.
I would as well. In the same game, we saw the jungle camps refusing to spawn in their early game.
That was so weird, man. It's like 137 and no camps have spawned. Like, I have been saying to Riot for years to just go ahead and remove jungle, but I was kind of surprised that they decided to test it just in a random LCO game.
To finish it off, we had Draku flexing in Telly's pregame interview, which was, you know, much appreciated. We didn't have that much juice in the player cams this week, so Winfred, please, I know you watch these. Give me some juice, man.
All right, so I've got some rapid fire questions for you, my man. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay, in League of Legends, what is the most elo inflated champion?
Malphite.
What? No, man. You're such a Malphite hater.
It's definitely
And
Malphite.
It's not Malphite,
Who is
man.
it?
Most elo inflated champion, I would say, is like
Don't say Bard.
Ari, Lux, or Talon. Those are my top
You just
three.
hate Kyosei or what?
He doesn't play Talon. Like, he just does play Ari and Lux. Yeah, true.
Damn.
Okay, what about most elo deflating champion?
Oh, it's a hard one. Bard, definitely. Only a true beast of the
man.
game can pilot
Oh
that champion,
Your
honestly.
takes are so incorrect. So horribly wrong. Try again.
Oh, fuck.
That
Most
can't
elo
be Bard.
deflating.
There's no way you really think it's Bard, right?
No, I don't actually
Okay,
think it's Bard. Don't worry. Fuck, most elo deflating. Dude, how can I not think about a question like this?
You can think if you want.
It's a rapid fire question. I'm not meant to think.
faster.
Okay. Fuck, I don't know. What's a shit champion? Zed?
Controversial,
Yeah.
but no.
I could probably think of a better answer, but I mean, that's all I got for now.
Okay. All right, what's your favorite Valorant agent? Is that what they call them? Agent?
Why did you even write this question if you don't even know what they're called?
Well,
Favorite Valorant agent is Chamber.
okay. Don't know what that means, but great. Okay, if you have to choose one in a teammate, toxic or bad?
Bad.
Okay.
I can fix them.
You can fix them, you reckon? All right. And a player from last year you miss watching the most, that's not me, of course.
Me.
You miss watching yourself
Yes.
play? You always go back and watch the VOD, like the post-game jerk-off session? Is that what you do?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Who doesn't do that?
Not me. That's for sure.
All right, that's it for today's episode. There's one more Super Week left, so we'll catch you next time for your weekly fix. That's how you do a one-shot.
Okay, but you did have a lot easier time than me.